Kiev, May 26, 2018. Champions League final. 1 mistake. 2 mistakes. 3 minutes that erased everything. Loris Karius wasn't just a promising Liverpool goalkeeper, he was the future. But on that night, in front of 61,000 people and millions watching, his errors against Real Madrid weren't just technical failures. They were the beginning of the end. What nobody knew was that something much bigger was behind those mistakes. Something medicine would only discover later. And when the truth came out, it was already too late. This is the story of the game that destroyed Karius. To understand the fall, you need to know the rise. Loris Karius arrived at Liverpool in 2016 from Mainz in Germany. Just 23 years old, talented, confident. Klopp, his fellow German, believed in him. In the 2017 to 2018 season, he became the undisputed starter. He made impossible saves. He led Liverpool all the way to the Champions League final. But Kiev held a cruel fate. May 26, 2018, Olympic Stadium in Kiev, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. The most anticipated final. Karius was focused, concentrated. The opening minutes were balanced. Mohamed Salah got injured and left crying at the 30-minute mark, a bad omen. But nothing compared to what was coming. Minute 51, Karius receives the ball, looks up, and decides to play it quick. A seemingly simple throw out, but Benzema is alert. He stretches out his leg. The ball deflects and goes in, 1-0 to Real Madrid. The stadium goes silent on the red side. Karius puts his hands on his head. It was a mistake, he thinks. I can fix this, and it seems like he does. Sadio Mane equalizes in the 55th minute. Liverpool is back in the game. Karius makes 2 important saves. He's redeemed, he's back. Confidence returns. But fate had other plans. Gareth Bale comes on. Minute 64, he scores an anthology bicycle kick goal. 2-1, it wasn't Karius' fault. Nobody was stopping that. But the pressure mounts. 8 minutes from the end, what happens next would go down in history for all the wrong reasons. Minute 83. Bale shoots from distance. It's not an impossible shot. Karius positions himself. Goes for the save, but the ball just goes right through his hands. Like they weren't even there. 3-1. Game over. Everything over. The final whistle. Karius collapses. He cries on the pitch. He goes to the Liverpool fans to apologize. It was my fault, he would say later. Social media explodes. Memes, criticism, hate. A 24-year-old goalkeeper carries the weight of a lost final. But this is where the real mystery of the story begins. Days after the final, Karius underwent medical exams in Massachusetts, in the United States. The diagnosis? Concussion. In the 49th minute of the match, just 2 minutes before the first error, Sergio Ramos had elbowed Karius during an aerial challenge. The footage shows the impact. The doctors confirmed. The concussion affected his motor coordination and spatial judgment. Karius had proof. He had science on his side. But the damage was done. Liverpool signed Alisson Becker for €72 million. Karius was loaned out. Turkey, Germany, back to England at smaller clubs. The confidence never returned. The errors from that night haunted him. Every save was scrutinized under the microscope of the Kiev final. The medical truth didn't save Karius. It came too late. The soccer world had already judged, condemned, and executed his career. He was loaned to Besiktas in Turkey, where the mistakes continued. Not due to lack of talent, but because the psychological trauma was bigger than any physical treatment. Every ball coming his way brought back memories of Kiev. Every save was an impossible test. Soccer is ruthless. It doesn't matter the scientific explanation, the proven concussion, the medical exams. What sticks is the image. And Karius' image was that of 2 grotesque errors in the biggest club final in the world. Even his Liverpool teammates who publicly supported him knew there was no coming back. Klopp hugged him after the game, but he also knew Karius was done at Anfield. Alisson Becker arrived and did everything Karius couldn't. Security, leadership, titles. Premier League in 2020, Champions League in 2019, exactly 1 year after the Kiev tragedy. Liverpool found its goalkeeper. Karius became a footnote, a cautionary tale, a walking meme. Union Berlin, back in Germany. Newcastle United, again in England, but without playing. Each transfer was a renewed hope that died in weeks. Clubs signed him thinking maybe the talent will come back, but what came back were the doubts. The insecurity, the ghosts of Kiev. At 31 years old, Karius found himself without a club in 2024, training alone, waiting for a chance that might never come again. In interviews, Karius speaks with the voice of someone carrying an invisible weight. I know I made mistakes, but something was wrong with me that night. People don't want to hear about concussion. They want someone to blame. He's right. Soccer needs villains, and on that May night, Karius was cast in the role. Think of other goalkeepers who erred. Kahn in the 2002 final, Casillas had a bad spell. De Gea lost his spot in the national team. But they had time, structure, institutional support. Karius had 3 days of killer headlines before being discarded. The difference? The timing, the magnitude, and maybe the lack of luck. Today, when you watch that final, knowing about the concussion, the errors look different. You see an injured man trying to function normally. You see coordination failing, timing off. It's not an excuse, it's context. But context doesn't give careers back. Loris Karius still tries. At 31 years old, he still trains, still waits. But reality is cruel. That night in Kiev didn't just destroy a final. It destroyed a trajectory. It turned promise into tragedy. And the worst part? He was literally injured and nobody noticed in time. 3 minutes, 2 errors, 1 concussion, a career destroyed. This is the story soccer prefers to forget, but that Loris Karius lives every day. The game he could never leave behind. The game that defined him, the game that destroyed him, and if you were him, could you start over? If you've made it this far, you're not just any spectator, you're someone who understands that soccer is more than goals and trophies. It's about people. And if you want more stories like this, you know where to find me. Thanks a lot. See you around.